What's up guys, Stark Sensei here. You might know me from TikTok. I'm a big Naruto card TikToker, One Piece TikToker, whatever you want to say. But I'm making my way over to YouTube, and this is my first ever video on an introduction to the Naruto card game. So what is the Naruto card game? The CCG ran from 2006 to 2013, and it ran with the anime. So there were 28 sets in total, and each set really represented a different point in the anime. And it was actually a very popular game in terms of actually playing the game. There was a very large player base. There were tournaments everywhere. Events everywhere, and local game stores, tons of promos, and it was really a big game before the age of social media as well. But unfortunately, since the game is so old and it stopped in 2013, there's no official database for the game, so that's been a real challenge in growing the game now as a vintage card game. So I encourage everybody to go download the Naruto CCG app that you can see on screen right now. It has a database of every single set. It's not official, but it has every card there, and it's really what everyone uses to kind of select cards that they want and look at the different sets, because there were 28 of them. There were a lot of cards, a lot of super rares. We'll get into the rarities later in this video, but it's a great resource that every collector really should have at the ready. So what is the state of the game today? So obviously, like I said, the game is no longer running, but it has had a sharp increase in interest over the pandemic in the last couple of years. And collectors are coming over from Pokemon, from any other kind of TCG like that, and it's just kind of united people who are both Naruto fans and card collectors, because the game has beautiful cards, beautiful artwork, and people really love it. And so what's been happening is interesting. So as the game got closer to its ending, they printed less and less of each set, which was very unfortunate, because those actually ended up being the most sought after sets. So this has caused, over the past couple of years, and it's really still growing, for a sharp increase in price for those later sets. The earlier sets are more abundant, but the later sets, especially the full art cards of those sets, the chase cards, have gotten really, really expensive because of the supply and demand. So even though Naruto is not as big as any of these other, non-Pokemon TCGs that you might be hearing about, it has a very low overall supply. So even with a very small collector base, it even has trouble sustaining them. So prices are just going up, in relation to that. And that's, I think, what is really going to continue to happen as we grow this game even more. So let's get into the meat of the video. How does the rarity system work, and what are the best sets and cards to collect? So the rarity system works as follows. There are common, uncommon, rare, and super rare cards. And those are denoted by the dots in the bottom corner of the cards, as you can see on screen. Super rare cards are what you want to collect. They have the odds of 1 in 6 packs, and this is consistent throughout every set. So the most popular characters from the most iconic moments in super rare form are generally what you want to collect. And while super rares are 1 in 6 packs, every single pack will have a foil card, no matter what. However, the set determines what kind of foil you will be getting. If your pack is from the first 10 sets through Lineage of Legends, you will be getting a diamond or wavy foil card. However, after set 10, they move to just a normal kind of blank foil. While it's still foil, but it doesn't really have any pattern to it. This has made a few select diamond foils some of the most sought after cards that aren't super rares, even though they're from the earlier sets rather than the later sets, with the later sets being more scarce. So the general rule for how expensive and sought after a card is: the later the set, the more expensive the card. So the later sets were printed less, so they're inherently more sought after, but they also have full art cards with texture on them, and this makes them incredibly beautiful cards, whereas the earlier sets just kind of have half art gold foil cards, which are still cool and can be sought after, but the collectors really prefer the full arts of their favorite characters. So to give an example, this is the Naruto Ninetales cloak from set 28. It's graded in a BGS 9.5, so it's a full art from the final set of Naruto in his KCM form. That's going to make it one of the most sought after cards, maybe the most sought after card in the CCG. And there are other examples just like this, the Sasuke Susanoo from Avengers Wrath, the Naruto Sage mode, which pictures the iconic entrance that we all know and love from Sage's Legacy, and the list goes on. But generally, if you look through your Naruto CCG app and you see a full art card, and the later the set, the better, of a character that is very popular, it's going to be an expensive card. And it's also important to note that characters like Itachi, for example, were printed in very few different arts. So his cards are generally more expensive, even in the half art forms, than the average like Naruto card. Like the top end of Naruto is always going to be more than the top end of Itachi, but a basic Naruto foil, they made 1 million of those. So while those can be sought after, look really cool, and people are always going to want them, the base Itachi foil or the basic Itachi super is going to go for more just because of the supply. Now, this is not to say that the earlier super rares can't be worth anything. They can be worth a lot of money, and they are some of the coolest cards in the game. They also mark an important piece of history because you can see the game progressively evolve within them. But when it comes to the top end of the market, it's going to be those late set full arts of the desirable characters. So now that you know a little bit about the game, what's the best way to get these cards? So there are 3 main ways to get these cards. Those being eBay, GOAT card shops, and the Facebook groups. And then there's a 4th, Whatnot, which is in its early stages, but it is growing for sure. So starting off with eBay, this is where people are going to go first. There's definitely a selection on there, but you have to be careful because sellers will jack up prices on things, and there's not always sales data on there for you to be sure that you're paying a fair price. However, eBay is definitely a place that you should always look if you're trying to get a card. But that doesn't mean that they're going to have it for a good price or someone is going to be selling it for a good price. But if eBay does not have the card that you're looking for a reasonable price, there are plenty of other places that you can go. So talking about GOAT Card Shop. So GOAT Card Shop is an individual website, which is really just an individual seller, but he has a massive, massive inventory. You also have to be careful because you're never really going to get a card from GOAT Card Shop that's perfect, pristine mint. You're never going to get a gradable card. You're going to get a nice binder card, maybe with a few scratches or something like that, but it's very, very rare to get a card that is perfect, pristine mint from GOAT Card Shop because he does not actually upload pictures of the card to the website. He only uses stock pictures. But with that being said, GOAT has a very large selection of low to mid-end cards, and generally those prices are about fair. You can also use GOAT Card Shop as kind of an index for the market. You can see, hey, this is the card I want, this is what it was going for or what it sold out for on GOAT, so this is what I'm going to try and pay for it on a different part of the market. So the third way, and what I probably do the most, is Facebook groups. So there are a couple big Facebook groups for Naruto where people go to sell their collections, sell their big cards, and see if people bite. And this is really where the big stuff happens. There are a lot of big sellers on there, there are a lot of big collectors on there that are always kind of moving their stock, seeing what they can get and stuff like that. So when a Grail card comes onto the market, if it's on eBay, it's probably going to be jacked up for a crazy price. But if it's on the Facebook group, odds are you can get it down to what it's really worth. There are also a couple of really big sellers that only sell through the Facebook group. So if you want to communicate with them and their big inventories, you have to do it through Facebook. And that's the only way to have access to those guys who are very good at what they do. And one tip for Facebook, if you're going to buy a card on there, just pay through PayPal goods and services rather than friends and family. That way, it ensures that you will never get scammed. I'll put links to all the Facebook groups in the description below, and I recommend that whether you intend to buy from them or not, that you join all of them and just see what's going on. So the last method I'm going to talk about is Whatnot. So Whatnot, as some of you may know from the Pokemon community or other TCGs, is a live auction service where a seller can go live stream cards and sell them at whatever price they want. So me and some other Naruto TikTokers and big sellers have joined this app and started selling Naruto cards on a weekly or multiple times per week basis. I myself, I'll just put up a card. It'll either be a diamond foil, a wavy foil, or a really cool foil, or a super rare, and I'll get kind of into the higher end of cards, nothing crazy, but still nice cards that any collector would want. And for me personally, I start every auction at $1. So it's a great way to, come out, learn about the CCG, hang out on the live stream, have some fun, and you'll probably pick up some really good deals on some cards that should be staples in your collection if you're just starting out. So Whatnot is not an everyday thing, but it should be something that everyone has saved and is ready for whenever any of us go live, and I'll leave links to kind of all the Naruto CCG Whatnot users down below, as well as an affiliate link from myself that will give you $10 in free credit automatically applied to your first purchase. So now let's talk about grading your Naruto cards. So PSA unfortunately does not grade these cards. That has led to a company, MNT, based in Canada, really step up to the plate and take over the Naruto CCG market. BGS grades cards as well, but they are more expensive and take more time, so many collectors have gone the MNT route, although both services do certainly give your cards a premium over their raw price. I myself have generally graded with MNT. It's not that expensive, pretty fast, and the customer service is really good, so it's probably what I recommend, although they're not perfect. But grading in the Naruto market is definitely a big thing, and it does bring a high premium over raw cards. So to finish up here, could the Naruto CCG ever come back? This is always coming up in the community and people have mixed feelings about it. But I think that it definitely will. I might be a little too hopeful, but when you think about what Bandai is doing, they just added the One Piece CCG. They're having a lot of success with the DBS CCG, and the Digimon CCG is also catching on. So to me, it doesn't make sense to have both DBS and One Piece and not have Naruto, and whether that be in the form of a Boruto CCG or a Naruto CCG, there's a lot of money on the table for Bandai right here, especially considering how well the old Naruto CCG is doing and the demand for that. So in terms of whether the move makes sense for Bandai, it absolutely does on every single level. But we just don't know what they're going to do, and that is the unfortunate thing. So for now, we can only dream. So that's been a very brief introduction to the Naruto CCG. So you can catch me on TikTok making daily videos. You can catch me on Whatnot streaming, once, twice a week, Naruto cards, everything included. You can catch me on Instagram, posting about my collection. All these cards are posted up there, and whenever I get anything new, I'll post it up there as well. And feel free to DM me with any questions. I respond really quickly, and I love helping new people get into the game. And I'll see you guys later.